Hey guys, welcome back. Come along with me today as we make creative fairy gardens. All right, you guys, I'm gonna show you the supplies that we're gonna need for this project. We have some essential supplies and I'll show you those. And then we have some extras that I found in my studio, and maybe you have some things in your house that you might find that you wanna add. But first, I'm gonna show you the essentials. Okay, essentials for this project is we're definitely gonna need a pair of scissors, some Sharpie markers. You know, I always love to add a Bic pen. We're gonna need a pencil for our drawing. We're gonna need some white paper to draw our fairy house. We're gonna need 2 different shades of green paint. If you don't have 2 shades, don't worry. Just pick whatever green you have, and we have white, so we can adjust that color with the white. You're gonna need some glue. Of course, you're gonna need a paper plate for your paint, paintbrush, paper towel, and a little cup with water. We're also gonna need some markers. You can use Elmer's glue, or if you have a glue gun and you have an adult working with you, or if you're a teacher and you're gonna work with your kids, then definitely a glue gun will make this project a lot easier. We're gonna need a piece of cardboard. You're gonna need something to trace it with. If you don't have something that's a perfect circle that you can use, then you can cut a box up and have something to trace. Today I can show you with this Frisbee I have here, but if you have a round bowl, you can do that too. We're gonna need a paper towel roll or the inside of a toilet paper roll to use for our mushroom cut, and some cupcake liners if you have them. All right, you guys, now here's some non-essentials, but some fun pieces that we can use. So right now, our local dollar store has some fun things. I always like to go to the dollar store because it's just such a fun resource for craft supplies and just little extras that you can use when you're doing art. Right now, they have some cute mushroom sets. So if you want to do this project and you want to go run over there and see if they have any, and you don't want to make the mushrooms on your own, they have these. They also have these little squares. These are perfect for when you want to have a raised element on your board and you need something to secure it at the back to just hold it upright. I love to use these for that. I also have some paper straws. We have some beans over here, popsicle sticks, cotton balls, buttons, a little blue sponge for a possible water element. Lots of possibilities. I also in my studio keep this fun little container of little diamonds in case I want to add, you know, a few little elements and make something look a little bit more fancy. All right, guys, so let's go. All right, you guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to take your piece of cardboard. You're going to take your Frisbee if you have it, a bowl, anything round that you can make, and you're going to take your pencil and you're just going to trace around that box and get your circle design in. Then once you do that, you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut out that circle. Once we have the circle cut out, you can prepare your paint. So I'm just going to take my paints here and I'm just going to get a little bit of each color. Today we're using the Shuttle Art brand paint. I use Shuttle Art brand a lot in the studio with my students. We use their markers, their paint sets. Let me get that paint out of there. Okay, so you know I always like to add a little variation of color. So what we're gonna do on your round circle is you're gonna take your green, your dark green, and we're just gonna go all around the edges. And it's really up to you how big or small you wanna make this project. I also like to keep an extra sheet of paper under anything that I'm painting. It's just less messy, and that way our space stays clean. Once this dries, or as it dries, we can just set it aside and start working on the other elements of our piece. So we're just gonna keep layering in this green paint here, and you can dip back and forth between all the colors. You don't have to really stick to one color if you don't want to. I just like to have a little variation. This is just gonna be the base of our little fairy house, so we're just going to take this and get it to a nice green. That way, all the grass that we make, anything that we make to put on this, it's just going to blend right into the environment. I'm just going to go back and forth between those colors. I'll dip a little bit in that white. You see how the white helps to shade it too? It helps to shade it, get that lighter color. And it just helps to spread that paint around. All right. So we're just gonna set this aside just for a minute. We're gonna clean our brush and get that green paint off of there. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our scissors. If you're gonna make your own mushrooms, and I may do a mixture between handmade and the others, what you have to do is take your paper towel roll, and we're just gonna cut it. We're gonna cut maybe a short one and a tall one. And since the bottom side of the mushroom is white, you can just put your fingers in there, and we're just gonna paint those tubes white. Okay, now that we have the bottoms of our mushrooms painted, if you want to, as a little element, you could just dip a little bit into your green and just add here and there, just some little lines around the bottom to make it look like it's sitting in some grass. We're gonna make some grass for this project, but this will help it a little bit. And you can go back and forth between those different shades of green. Oh, so cute. Let's see on this one. And if it's still wet, you just kind of put your fingers in there. Even though art is messy sometimes. I always leave the studio even after feeling like I've cleaned up, and then I'll find paint in the most random places on my arm or on my clothes that I didn't notice. It's just part of the job of being an artist. All right, you guys, so now I'm gonna set these things away, and it's kind of cool. While we start working on the other side of our project, these will be drying, and by the time we're ready to piece it all together, these will be perfectly dry and ready to go. All right, guys, next we're gonna work on our grass. So if you have construction paper, you can take your shades of green. Sometimes in construction paper, there's more than one shade, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut our paper. I'll kind of show you the size here. About an inch, well, almost 2 inches. And it doesn't have to be perfectly straight because grass grows all different heights. So they kind of need to look this size. If you don't have construction paper at home, go ahead and take your white paper and cut a sheet, and I'll show you how to do both. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take those pages and we're gonna get our pencil, and we're just gonna go up and down, up and down, up and down in a zigzag shape. We don't wanna go all the way to the bottom, because what we're gonna do on our round is we're gonna fold the bottom of all the papers and use the glue to glue it and attach it. So we don't wanna go all the way down to the bottom of the page. You wanna leave a little bit of space there. So we're just gonna go up and down, up and down, up and down. On your white piece of paper, same thing. And all you're gonna have to do is, if you're gonna use your white piece of paper, and you can do this over and over again to achieve however much grass you want to have around your round board. So if you're using the white paper, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up our markers, and today I'm using this set of King Art markers. We're gonna open those up and just get a green. This one looks like a good grass green. And you can take your marker and you're just gonna go through and color your grass. I'm not worried too much about staying in the lines on this because I'm gonna cut it and trim it. So I'm just going through, I'm gonna color my grass. And go ahead and color just a little bit down, because we are gonna fold this down. And I'll show you the example on this white piece of paper so that you can kind of see what I'm talking about if you're using color paper. So we're gonna cut it out. All right, guys, now I have my grass cut out. So you can leave this all in one piece for your board and just layer it all the way around. What we'll do is we'll take the extra on the bottom and we're gonna fold that down. So when we go to attach this, just fold it all the way over. We'll put a line of glue along the bottom and it will sit on our board like that. If you want to be able to curve it or make it a little bit more curved, then you can trim it and decorate your board with it however you see fit. So we're going to do the same thing with the other color green paper. I'm going to cut those out too. And since I have a few different shades, I'm just going to hold them together and cut them all at once. And just remember that art isn't fussy. Just trust the process as you're putting things together, and just imagine what you want your final vision of your art project to look at, but be kind of patient as you're putting it together and trust the process. All right, you guys, now I have my 3 different color grass all cut out, so I'm going to set those aside. I'm going to clean up my mess. Okay, you guys, so the next step is we're gonna draw a cute little fairy house to put in our little fairy garden. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw a rectangular shape on a white piece of paper. I want you to make sure not to go to the bottom of the page because we need this page to fold down to attach it. And remember how I told you about the little squares that we use to attach it to make it stand up right? So this is definitely going to be an element that we'll use that for. If you have a little popsicle stick or a little square or a bean, or you can even crumble some paper into a ball and hide it at the back of the house. I'll show you that in a second, but we're going to need that to make this house stand up over the grass and over the mushrooms. But first we're going to draw it. So I'm going to draw my my rectangle, and then I'm going to add a triangle at the top. And I may want to put like a little chimney on there. I want a big round door. If you want it to make the look of maybe stones around the door, you can do some little swirls. However you see it. It can be like a short, fat little house or a tall, thin house, however you want it. Above it, I'm gonna put a window and maybe some little skinny windows here down the side. Just put a little cross on the inside of those. And on this one, I may just put like a little box outside with little flowers or little plants on this window. Then I'll put some window panes in there to make it look nice and round. And maybe up here, I'll just put a rectangular shaped window. All right, on this door, we're gonna do a door handle. And you can put any kind of designs that you want here inside your door. All right, you guys, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our markers and we're gonna color our fairy house. Here we go. When I'm coloring, I like to use, if I pick one color, I like to look in my drawing and think, what is everything that I would like to have that shade of color, and color it all at once. Okay guys, you know, I always have my paint markers close by, so I'm going to use my Just Art paint markers to add some extra little details over my drawing. And then I'm going to take my Bic pen and outline my drawing. How cute is that? Now I'm gonna take my Sharpie marker and just go and just add like a little bit thicker line to the right side of my drawing just to make it stand out just a little bit more. All right. Oh wait, forgot one of the windows. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut out our house. Well, you don't have to cut it exactly right next to the house. Let me show you. I like to leave a little space around the drawing. And remember, we're gonna keep this space at the bottom. You know what? I'll just show you that amount of space here that we're just gonna leave to bend over and to glue it. Let's see. You see, I'm just giving myself just a little bit of space to go around my drawing. Okay. All right. So what we'll do is we're gonna bend the drawing and see how it stands up. Okay, just like that. All right, I'm gonna clean my mess and then I'm gonna show you how we're gonna attach this to our board. All right, you guys, so I have my house here. I have my popsicle stick and my little square. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my glue gun and I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue on that block and I'm gonna attach it to this square. What I want to do is the glue, the popsicle stick is gonna make your house stand up straight. So what I'm gonna do is on the other side of the popsicle stick, I'm just gonna put a little layer of glue. And I'm gonna hold it in the middle. And like I said, if you are a kid at home wanting to do this project, then make sure if you're gonna use a glue gun that you have an adult with you because they do get pretty hot and I don't want you guys to get burned. Let's see how that already stands up by itself? So what I'm gonna do is on the bottom of this, I am going to put some glue there. And depending on the size of your house, if you need an extra support, go ahead and add an extra support if you need to. I'm gonna put my little fairy house right here. Let's see, I'm gonna add just a little extra glue right underneath my block because it's moving around a little bit. So that's gonna hold it still. Oh, how cute is that? So now that I have my house on my cute little round cardboard, I almost said wood, it's not wood, it's cardboard. I'm gonna start layering in my mushrooms where I want them to be. So I am gonna use some of these, maybe one of these from the dollar store stash. Just gonna put some glue on the bottom of that and I'm gonna put this little guy right here. But something else that I'm gonna do before I start layering in my grass pieces is I have some beans here. I'm gonna load my glue gun up again too. I have some beans here. So I want to do like a little path to my house. So I'm gonna take these lima beans and I am gonna put some glue on those. You know what? I'll just put it on the board. We'll use the Elmer's glue for this part. Just gonna put some glue dots where I want my beans to be. And And then I'm just gonna start layering those in because I want to make it look like there's a little walking path to the edge of my art piece. So I'm gonna put my glue down and keep just gluing until I get my path just like I want it to be. And the thing with Elmer's glue is you have a lot of flexibility to mold them closer together if you want to make space for more. I have some room up here for another one. And maybe even one right there. Okay. So we have our little path to our house. What we're gonna do is I want to take my cupcake liners. Now, if you don't have pink or red cupcake liners, don't worry about it. You can make your little mushrooms whatever color you have. Fun way to do it. You can do it with your white paint or you can do it with a white Sharpie marker. I'm just gonna take, let me get that marker started. Take this marker and I'm just gonna draw the cute little white circles that the mushroom has on it. Even my little mushroom that I have here can add the little white circles to it and draw those guys in. You can even do it with cut paper. If you have your white beans, I'll show you another way. You can just put a few little glue dots on there. Oops. And you can take your beans and use those too to just make it pop out a little bit more. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the bottom, sorry, of this mushroom, and we're just gonna put some glue around the top, and you're just gonna set that little mushroom top on there. Then we can just add some glue along the bottom. And what we're gonna do is find a spot on our board and we're gonna attach our mushroom to our board. You can just press down on it. We're gonna do that one more time. How cute is that little bitty one? It's just a baby. Let's see here. We're gonna layer our glue along the bottom. And we are gonna put this one, let's see, maybe right here, close to the big one. How cute is that, you guys? Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we can take our Elmer's glue and we're gonna start layering in our grass. Let's see. So I'm gonna put this grass back here. Bring my pieces over here. And like I said, you can cut them to different sizes and move them around. You can like kind of bend them a little bit if you want like a little bit of a curve to your grass. Once they're glued, you can kind of bend them forward or backwards to just make them look a little crinkled. Let's see where we need some more grass on this thing. Okay, don't forget that you have to bend the bottoms as you cut them. this grass here. Let's bend them a little bit. All right, guys, I'm gonna layer the grass in and be right back. All right, you guys, I have my grass. How cute is that? I think since this is a fairy house and a fairy garden, I want to add some little diamonds in there because that feels like a little bit more fairy-like. So I'm going to grab my diamonds here, and I'm going to layer some of these in and out of my piece, just a few. I think this is definitely a place I would like to hang out in. I think this fairy needs a diamond doorknob. How cute is that? I'm gonna put these away, and I want to add one more thing, and I think this piece of art is going to be done. I want to take these fun little straws that I have here. What I'm gonna do, maybe even a few pieces of this cotton here. So I'm gonna cut them different lengths. And I think what I wanna do is I wanna take this cotton ball and I'm gonna make like a puff. I feel like we just went from fairy garden house to Whoville a little bit. So I'm gonna put the cotton ball on each of these. I think what I'm gonna do is put a piece of cotton on the bottom of each of these too. That way, when I go to attach them, they stay right into place. What I'm gonna do is put a little glue spot on the bottom of my board and just hold it still, and we're gonna attach these little puffs here and there throughout the piece. Let's get that glue on there. We'll put one over here. Getting sticky. We're gonna put one right here, and we'll do one more at the front of the piece. Right there. We'll hold it down tight. All right, you guys, I think that's pretty cute. Here's our fairy garden, fairy house. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today while we make fairy gardens. I'm sure your fairy gardens were full of imagination and creativity. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I cannot wait to see you again on another Studio Creative Kids.